Leading after day one, jump 190 in the high jump at like, I think it was maybe 16 or 17. I saw Blanca Vlasic was in my like little call room. I sat next to her and I was like, this is so weird. Like I was such a fangirl. People in my competition, I was like, right, I can't even think of this. I have to compete against these people. So hard, like when, I know it's different end of the spectrum, but like when they had the light show, that was amazing. Like that was such a big part of the whole champ.
I hated the light show simply. No. Okay.
I know this is. I mean, I started when I was 5, so I've been doing this a long time. And I think I need to kind of remember how old I am. Like at the end of World Champs, I was just so upset with how I performed, and I need to think like I am still 22. I am still learning. Although I have been in the sport a long time, there is still things that I like learning now. So yeah, that for me, that was like almost my World Champs because I put so much into it and the season had just gone so badly. There was points in the season where I was like, I don't even think I can high jump anymore. Like I just lost all faith in myself and my ability and everything. So I think by the time I got to Doha, I was just I obviously wanted to do well. Yeah, I wanted to do well. I wanted to make the final, but in the back of my mind, I knew that it wasn't going to be my chance, to be honest.
Favorite song.
Oh, do you know what I'm so bad at? So I'm like, I love this music, I love this. I don't know what the songs are called.
What?
Because I'm like, garlic on pizza makes like a garlic bread.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Aubergine's a nice vegetable. Let's put that on top.
I can't find the words for this.
Weird one.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Athletics Productionz. We've got a special guest in today. As you can see, she was in the World Championship recently. And we've got Morgan Lake. She's an high jumper, but some people might say she wants to do something else as well. So we'll ask her about it. Okay, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Good.
How was your competition been this season? Obviously, it's been a long season for you.
A long season.
Really long season. When did you start competing this year?
So I started in January. So yeah,
So
nearly
for
like
the,
pardon?
for the indoor season.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to the British Muller Games?
Yeah.
The one in Glasgow?
So no, there was no high jump in Glasgow. So my first like prov competition was in Czech Republic. They have like a little high jump tour. It's quite cool. And then did trials, Europeans, and then had a break.
What was your best competition over the indoor season? So I'll put it in 2 ways. So best series and then like best overall height over the indoor season.
So my first competition was that one in January. So jumped 197, British record, PB. Like I was like, oh my god, this is my year. I'm gonna go, like go to Doha, win it. Basically, this is it. And then it kind of went down a little bit from there. I went to trials, jumped 94, became British champ. So I was like, okay, it's cool. And then it kind of just went down and down from there.
So why do you think? Do you think it's because it's went on for so long, or do you just think it's just the preparation were just not, or your body just sort of gave up at that point? Because it is quite a long time from January to September to pretty much train. And have you ever done that before?
No, never done that before. I think so. In January, I was like, I really want to just do short-term goals. So I was like, okay, I want to do well in January, get my standard for World Champs out the way, which I did. And then I'm like, right, I'm going to focus on European Champs. And then a couple weeks after that first competition, my dad had a stroke, which was like a massive, massive shock to our family. Like he was my coach as well before that. He wasn't my coach at the time, but he's always been like really involved in my athletics. So that kind of gave me a different perspective on my, like that wasn't my number one focus anymore, but also I wanted to do well to like kind of like make him proud and like I didn't want to completely change my life. So
yeah, because mentally that would have affected you no matter how old you are.
Yeah, exactly.
How did that affect you? So obviously if that's happened in the middle of like your early part of your season, and then that happens, that mentally when you were trying to compete, was that kind of on your mind as well? Was almost like a barrier?
Yeah, so that all happened the week of British Champs. So, yeah, I didn't think anyone really expected me to compete. I was like, in my head, I know I'm in really good form.
Yeah.
And I know that he wouldn't want me to not compete just because of him. Like, I think he kind of felt, obviously not guilty, but like, I don't know how he would have felt. But I was like, I want to go out and compete and like do him proud. So I jumped 194, became British champion, and no one really knew at the time. I was doing interviews and I was like quite happy. Like, I was almost shocked about how it didn't really affect me. And then I think after that, it just kind of all hit at once. Like once I just kind of got that out of the way, I was like, oh, this is more than athletics. This is like a big thing that's going on in my life. Whereas beforehand, I think like everything had been kind of around performance-wise. Like, if things hadn't gone well, I'll be upset. But like that's the only reason for that kind of like mindset. And then going to sorry, 800 is gone. Going to the European champs, I think I was just like so emotionally drained. Like I've been like a few months later, and that kind of like cut off my season. And I was like, right, I made the final, third attempt, but I made the final, got there, and didn't do as well as I'd hoped to perform. But I was like, right, like athletics isn't an indoor sport. Like it's absolutely amazing to do well indoors, but everything for me was going towards going towards Doha. Yeah, definitely.
Do you think, I think someone else touched on this, but I can't think who it was. Do you think that there is a massive gap between being world indoor champion or world European European indoor champ versus being the outdoor equivalents? Do you think there's a massive gap between them, or would you say like, well, I'm champion regardless of whether it's indoors or outdoors, I'm still champ?
It's a hard one. I think it depends on the event. Depends on where we kind of, what season we're. So like obviously going to Olympic season, and there's a world indoor champs, and I don't think a lot of people will be going to it. I mean, it's in China, it's quite late, and with an early Olympics, it's like that is a hard turnaround if you're gonna go into that championships and like give it your all,
and then prepare yourself.
And then prepare yourself like to get to Tokyo.
Let's say like the last year, so we'll go from this year into next year. They've not played it into you guys' hands.
Yeah, literally, it's been like one after the other, isn't
it? So you finished. I mean, some people's season finished in August. Obviously, as yourself finished late September, early October. Now you're back into training from what you said earlier on. And then it's world indoor champs next year. And then you've got Olympics as well. And is there anything else in between that time?
Not in between, but obviously got European champ, which is, I think it's 2 weeks after the Olympics. The Grand Prix and like all the Diamond Leagues and stuff are just like straight after. So the season's just so out.
The season's just started.
So wait, you've got Olympics and then Europeans. Okay, so for yourself, would you try to do both, or would you say, you know what, I've had the Olympics and I'm happy with that, or would you try and go for more?
I think because I'm not planning to do world indoors, I think I would almost. Well, I'm hoping that I go to Tokyo. I need to qualify.
No, you're going. You're going.
In a perfect world, I do probably Tokyo. And then if you're already in that form, I feel like it's quite early, and to really be in that top form, it'd be stupid not to go and do another championships after that.
So title on the line, I suppose.
So what do you think the team selection is going to be like? Because obviously, if a lot of you guys are not going to do the indoors, would that be more chance, or would you expect more juniors to come into that stage, or would they not pick them? Because obviously it might be too mentally draining for some of the junior ones to go in. Because you went to the Olympics under 20.
Yeah.
It
was like 20.
It's scary because she's
to Brazil,
still quite young.
How did you find that whole experience for yourself? Was that your first major event? Well, for senior level.
So my first major was, I think I was 17. I made the European champs team in, I should know what that was. Can't even remember where it was. I think it was in
2013.
I can't remember where it was. It was somewhere. Somewhere in Europe.
2013, I think.
So that was my first one, coming off the back of World Juniors, which is the same year, 2014. And I think it was a weird experience for me because I just wanted to make the team. So I didn't expect to make the team. That wasn't my aim at all that year. It's just making the team. I was like, cool, that's great. Next year was the World Champs, 2015. Again, I was just like, so happy to make the team. And once I got there, I was disappointed in my performance, but like my aim was just to get to world champs.
That point. Yeah.
And then by the time I got to the Olympics, it was like my 3rd major champ, so I wanted to do well. I think I went into that, like I made the final, I wanted to make the final on that. Again, I was like, right, I've kind of done what I need to do.
How old are you again, if you don't mind me asking?
22.
22, okay. So bearing in mind that you are still quite young, it's interesting that you no longer have that, like I'm still young, I'm looking to gain experience, blah, 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 because you already have that.
Yeah.
How would you speak to like an athlete who's probably just a couple of years younger than you, trying to do the same thing? What kind of advice would you give them going forward? Because you're still like on the really young side of being in the senior team.
It is weird because I started when I was 5, so I've been doing this a long time. And I think I need to kind of remember how old I am. Like at the end of World Champs, I was just so upset with how I performed, and I need to think like I am still 22. I am still learning. Although I have been in the sport a long time, there is still things I I'm learning now. So I'd probably just say enjoy every opportunity, and don't change things too much. I think the biggest thing that I did was, so in 2016, made it the Olympic final, and then decided to just completely change my setup, change everything. Moved for Loughborough, changed coaches. Although it was working, I was World Junior Champion, European Champion, like things were doing well, but I was like, right, I don't know how to change this. I need to obviously get better. So I was like, I'll just move. So I think I just say to people kind of like, if it's working, stick with it. Stick with it if it's working, and just take every year as it comes.
So what was the pressure like? Because obviously you've now been there since you were, like you said, at 17. And then this year going into the World Champs, what was that pressure like? Because now there would have been an expectation of you trying to obviously either get PB or pushing into the medals. What was that pressure like going in, knowing obviously people all believed in what you could do?
Yeah.
And after your last jump, because I was watching that, and after your last jump, you seemed so disappointed. Yeah. What was it like coming outside of that, leaving the stadium and then everything sinking in again?
Yeah.
What was that like for you?
It was a bit different this year because it was obviously a very long season. So I got injured in April. The last week of all weather training, and I thought it was like a tiny injury, so I kind of was like, I'll be about a week. Wasn't a week, 2 weeks, 3, it took about a month to kind of get over it, but I wasn't really training properly in that time, and by the time the injury had felt like it had gone, I was like, cool, just straight into training now, straight into competition. So I went straight in for the first Diamond League of the year, which was Oslo for me, and jumped 185, which is probably one of the lowest I've jumped on an international scale for a few years. So that really kind of hit me because I was like, I actually went straight into competition, but I haven't done the training to compete. So then that was kind of playing in my mind. And then throughout the season, it just kind of went down and down and down, to be honest. But so, I moved coach mid-season. So I went from training in Loughborough to coming home and training my dad again. And the competitions weren't great. And then British champ, so luckily kind of built it back up again. Came British champ, 94, which qualifying for Doha. So it was all kind of getting better and better by then. But I think the time I got to Doha, I was done. Mentally and physically, I think it was just a bit that step too far. But obviously, in my head, I'm a competitor, so I wanted to do well. Because
in the British champs, you and KJT were going at it. Yeah. that was really good because obviously it was in the middle of, was it the 100 meters or the 2, and
the 2, I think.
They kept having to stop everyone just for you guys to jump, and in that moment when you did make the jump, it was amazing because you were both really happy for each other at the same time, and just knowing you were going. Yeah. And going back to your dad again, was he there this time?
Yeah, he was there this time. He actually made a ridiculous recovery, so he's completely back to being normal now, which is amazing. So he was there coaching me the couple of weeks before it. That for me, that was almost my world champs because I put so much into it, and the season had just gone so badly. I there was points in the season where I was like, I don't even think I can high jump anymore. Like I just lost all faith in myself and my ability and everything. So I think by the time I got to Doha, I was just I obviously wanted to do well. Yeah, I wanted to do well. I wanted to make the final, but in the back of my mind, I knew that it wasn't going to be my chance, to be honest.
So during that period where you was like, I don't even know if I can do this anymore.
Yeah.
Would it have been a thing where you looked to do another sport within track and field because you was a heptathlete before?
Yeah.
So would you have looked at, okay, so when I was doing this was another event that I was good at, or would you have just shut it down completely?
Yeah, I feel like the last few years have been like, okay, when I go back to heptathlon, and I think my head's just always been kind of like thinking about that as well as high jump.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've never done with the sport, but I think mid-season I was like, I'm just so done with this event. I think it's just so draining to do that same thing, the same training, the same run-up. It was just really, really got to me. Then it's also another thing, like when it's going well, it's the best thing
really
ever.
Good.
So I know I was only thinking that because it was going badly, and I was like, I can do all these other events, and I'm just almost just
waiting
for the time to come where I can get it back.
The event that that came to you essentially. One thing I have always wanted to ask a high jumper is, you do these steps all the time, like in training, it's just regiment, keep it going. When you don't get that jump, how do you reset yourself? And like, do you ever think to, okay, this is why that didn't work? Like, how do you go, like, what process do you go through to make it right when it's gone wrong?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is about feeling. I mean, you've done that jump so many times, and you just know when it's going to go wrong, when it's gone wrong. The 3 attempts is great. If it was 1 attempt, the world record would be nothing like it is.
Okay.
Yeah, that really.
Is that something that you have thought about, like aspiration wise, like, I want to break the world record, or is it more important to get titles and championships?
It's a tough one. Like, it's the whole like, would you rather world record or Olympic gold? And I think I've always said Olympic gold, because no one can take that away from you.
Yeah.
And world records, you're just watching the rest of your life, like, either me.
90, I'm just waiting.
It's like on your deathbed, just watching the people.
Do you know what? It's funny that you say that, because sometimes, like, when you've got like for Jonathan Edwards, when the triple jumps on, I'm sure he must be sitting there like, oh my God, is it today? Is it today?
Stressed.
And then he sees something over 80 meters and he's like, okay, no,
that's good.
Like, can you imagine Bo? And obviously with Coleman coming through now, and one day, there's like because obviously he had Tyson, Blake, he had everyone around him. If Coleman can get that around him and someone was going to push for that world record, can you imagine him sitting there and
do you know,
I'm going to come out of retirement?
He could though.
It's funny that you say that. I think he'd actually be okay. I think he'd be all right. I think he would just, for him, it'd be a case of, all right, that's one record. That's one record done.
Oh yeah, records 2 as well.
Records are there to be broken, and then he can always turn and say, yeah, but I've got X amount of medals in my cabinet.
Yeah, he's such like a great athlete anyway, like such a legend. It's like no one can take that away from him.
It's like no matter what, you could take one thing, but he's still got this.
He's got 12
and
medals.
If I was him, I would look at my medal tally versus how long that record might stand, because that's 10 years now. Like, Christ almighty, 10 years, 10 years for that record. But if you look through the record books of Olympics and World Championships, that's always gonna be there, and you'll never not look at that and say, it's fallen down a bit. You'll never look at that. Because
honestly, Niles was like saying it was gonna break the 200-meter record. I didn't think it was, but because it wasn't running as efficient as it would need to break that record, and everyone was like talking about it, but it was not going to do that at that competition. It might still do it.
Yeah, it might still do it in the future.
Both might just sit there going, you know what, another year. I've had another year onto this.
I would sooner see the 100-meter record go before the 200. That's my personal opinion. I think the 100 is easier to go than the 200. Because I think even as good as Noah Lyles is, I reckon he'll get to about 19.3 America. I think get the American record first, and then we can start looking at that. But so you said that you've been doing this since you were 5.
Yeah.
That's
long. That's a long time.
It's a long time.
Very long time. So when you say you've been doing this since you were 5, do you mean sports or track and field?
So track and field.
Okay.
Well, the thing is, I can't even remember a time that I haven't done track. Like that's how long I've been doing it. But it wasn't the only sport I was doing. Did basically every single sport I could. So my dad was an athlete when he was younger. So I think naturally, because the passion that he had in it, I always kind of thought, that's what I want to go into.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started when I was really, really young, and I think
he's there training you around the track.
Yeah, he was
running along behind him.
Club.
Okay.
So I did like tennis, swimming, netball, like everything. But athletics was always the sport where I was like, right, this is. The others were like, I enjoy them more like hobbies. Yeah. Whereas this was like, I'm gonna make a career out of this. Like, this is what I love. There's nothing else like in the world which I liked as much as athletics.
Okay.
I think it was good because also like at my club, well, at the track I was at, there was like Mark Lewis Francis, Marlon Devonish, all the time, just like hanging around. So I think I was always around stars and always around people where I could see this is actually a career, this is a living. Whereas the other sports was like, yeah, this is enjoyable, but I don't really have.
It's not intrinsically.
Yeah.
So if you had to pick a sport that wasn't track and field, what would you have gone for?
It's a hard. Well, if I was really good at it, any sport, probably tennis.
Okay, tennis. I always find tennis really difficult. Like,
really?
I cannot play tennis.
Oh no, I'm not very good at it. I'm like, if I was good at a player.
I mean, I tried it in school.
Yeah.
Wasn't for me. Then I thought, you know what? Come guys, let's get some rackets and we'll go down the park. And I still couldn't get it. And in badminton, for whatever reason, I was like, yeah, cool. Got this.
Badminton's fun.
This is fun. Yeah. But tennis for me was never a thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you can throw the ball up and get it over the net,
that's all you need to do.
All credits to you, because I can't do that. If I try, I miss the ball, it goes somewhere else. Like, it's not for me. But okay, so been doing track since you were 5. Having the stars there to kind of push you along in terms of saying, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
What was your like first track and field event, like first competition, if you can remember back that far?
I think it was more like the sports hall stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, that was so fun. That's probably when I first got into it, and I was doing like standing long jump, like all those stuff. Yeah. But in my head, I was like, I want to be a long jumper. That's all I wanted to do. Didn't even know what multi-events was. Yeah. I was like, I don't like cross country, so I'm not doing anything to do with that.
There's always cross country going on. Like, I've never noticed this. There's always something going on.
Cross country is the worst thing. I try my hardest to get out of that.
I've never done it. Never will do it.
Never done it.
Listen,
what?
At the
never
most,
done it.
So jealous.
At the most, I might in a week. I might do a 3 to 5K. That is absolutely it. Yeah. I'm not, and even then, it's a struggle to get up to say, I'm going to do this. Because I could easily do like the first 10 minutes and be like, you know what? I'm going home. This ain't for me. I just go to the gym and just cycle with a 5K. But
yeah, cross country's not the one. So I was like, okay. So my dad was a triple jumper. He was coaching a jumps group. So I was like, yeah, that's what I'll go into. So I think my first few competitions were, I did everything, but I never really thought of it as, I'll do everything, so I'll do heptathlon. It was more just, I'll do everything because that's what my club made me do.
Come on, Morgan, we just do it for a point. You ain't got to jump really high, just get over the bar.
Exactly.
Just throw the shot put.
But then I'm so competitive, so I was like, I can't just like go out and do it. Like, I have to win it.
Okay.
Like, that's it. That was my negotiation.
That's another question, because I've got a little athlete that doesn't know if she wants to do it. She's really good at the sprints and the jumps.
Yeah.
But she actually doesn't know if she actually wants to go into athletics itself because of the throws and other things. And it's like, what advice do you, because I still encourage her to do everything because it's probably the best way. Yeah. But what advice do you even give to like someone, because she's quite small.
Right.
She's really small. She's like 5'4". And our families they're all quite small, so she's not gonna grow. Okay. But she really enjoys doing like.
Small though.
That's true. That's true. And our strengths are really strong. What advice do you give to someone that young? She's 13, yeah. Okay. That young for going into this event? Like, do you just carry on and just grow your confidence, or do you slowly find something you like and really focus on that? while still trying to do the rest?
Yeah, I think I'd always like tell any young athlete to do everything because there's been loads of people I've trained with when I was younger who have just specialized too early and then dropped out of the sport.
Yeah.
Mostly because they're not interested in it anymore and they've just kind of got bored of it and found something else. But it's not the only reason to carry on doing everything. Yeah. But I think just gives you that overall like conditioning as well. And I know that I was a better high jumper before when I was doing everything, and I was actually like stronger in loads of different areas. I think stuff with like throws, you just they're skills. Like you're gonna grow and you're gonna get better at them. Yeah, basically. Like the first time I threw a shot put, it went nowhere, absolutely nowhere. I was like, this is. Nice.
I guess your height must help though. Like, just launch it up there.
I mean, I can vouch for you. I am not on the throw side of things at all. Like, and people say, oh, well, you know, if you got long levers, it kind of helps. And I'm like, yeah, but there's no strength behind these levers. So, just, you know.
I had no strength behind my levers, but I think with like shot put and javelin, it's really just getting the technique right. Yeah, it's such a technical event. I think if you get that, then you can just build on everything else. Just get that like underlying skills, everything.
So at what point did you decide to just focus on high jump?
I think the weird thing about it was never really a decision. It was kind of, it just kind of happened. So in 2016, like my main aim for that year was to make Rio in the heptathlon. And I didn't make that, but I made the high jump. So I was like, right, okay, cool. I'll just do high jump there and then go back to heptathlon that next season. So I did go back to heptathlon. Went to a new coach, new setup, and it just wasn't really working for me. But then we had London 2017 that year. So I was like, I need to be in London. I need to meet the world champs team. I'll just go for high jump again. And I think it's just kind of happened like that.
So do you have different coaches, obviously, for those events? Do you have just one coach that goes through it? Or do you have different coaches in different setups? Because how do you communicate that? I want to focus more on high jump now. See you in a year's time.
I did have loads of different coaches. I had like in my old setup, I had my dad as my long jump and speed coach, and then I had a high jump coach, throws coach, S&C. So I had like loads of different people, and then my dad who was coordinating it.
So how did you communicate that period where you were like, I just want to do a high jump for this season, and then did it again? How did you communicate that with them?
It was a weird one because it didn't really happen until like later on in the summer. Until like a couple of weeks before the champs. That's when I was like, well, this isn't going to plan, so I'm gonna have to just go. But
because you know how many points you can potentially get, and then you can just work your way through it. Oh, well, I mean that's fair enough, isn't it? So next season or next year, if you see yourself really good at everything, would you go back into it?
I think with Tokyo being so close, I'm just like, I just can't even like think about that anymore. I think the last 2 years I've always just thought, okay, when I go back, if I was doing this, and I think my head's just been so like completely confused about what I'm actually wanting to do and like how I feel as an athlete. So this year I'm just being like, I'm just gonna do high jump, and then after that, after Tokyo, after Europeans and stuff, just maybe like reevaluate and have a think.
You got 4 years, and then
you got another 4 years. Exactly.
I was just about to say that. I suppose in some sense it's better that you've done it the way that you have, because obviously where Olympics is every 4 years, you'll be at the end of that cycle. So at the end of it, you can say, okay, going into this next 4 year cycle, Dad, this is what I want to do. How do we go back to this? Like, how would you even alter your training to go back
to don't want to think about it.
to doing all that different training? Like, how many days a week do you train at the moment?
So at the moment I train, I think it's 5 days a week.
Okay.
But the training is just so different. Like I used to train 5 days a week, but I would do so much in that day. Whereas now it's more just, some days I'll just do gym and like a short speed session. Some days I'll do just technical sessions. So although I am training a lot, I'm not training for as long or doing as much.
What is gym like as a high jumper? What does it consist of? What does your training consist of?
Just a lot of like fast, explosive stuff. Basically just like all lower limb. Don't do any upper body.
Okay.
So that's what, when I go back, I'm like, oh God, it's gonna be so hard. I won't do like anything. That gym side of it's changed quite a lot, but just more just like explosive stuff. Really.
Okay. So when you're doing the explosive stuff, does that sometimes happen after you've done a track session, or do you have like separate? Okay, so Monday's just gym, and then Tuesday's just track, and then Wednesday it could be gym and track. Is it kind of like that, or does it just vary?
Yeah, it kind of vary. I mean, gym's usually always after like a technical session. Not really sure why, but that's just how. I think I'd be dead if I tried to do a high jump session after gym.
Have you tried it?
No.
Because I know there are some athletes who do gym in the morning and then track in the evening, or literally track straight after gym. Yeah. Would that be something that you would look to try, or do you know yourself well enough now that that's not going to be a thing?
No, I think to get the best out of both sessions, I'd need to kind of do it the way I'm doing it. Okay. I don't know enough. I'm just like, you write the program, I'll just do it.
I'll just turn up.
Like, you just tell me what I need to do, I'll get it done. What would be your favorite exercise in the gym then, if it's all speed based effectively?
It's not as speed based, probably leg press. I don't even know why. I just love it.
Okay, so when you're doing leg press, is it more like load up as much as you can and get it out the way, or
that's basically what it is.
Hammer it out.
We do a bit of both. I mean, towards like the competitive part of the season, I'll do like fast, light, explosive stuff, and then in winter it's like that heavy, as much as you can put on it. Go. So
how does
that side?
When you have those sessions, like prior, how do you get yourself ready for that? Is that another process you go through mentally, or can you just wake up and say, all right, cool, I've got gym, I'm gonna go and get it done?
With gym, I think I can just kind of get into the gym, do it. I think with technical high jump sessions, that's really different mindset. I need to almost get into that competitive side of it, because I'm not that great at jumping in a non-competitive environment, so I can't really, because I'm jumping against myself. It's like it's harder.
So do you have like a set standard that you set yourself in training to say, okay, cool, I need to work around this to then go higher? Yeah,
so I usually just have like a few technical points and then just work on those and jump higher, because obviously every single session it's like I can jump high, but if I don't know why I'm jumping high, how I'm going to jump higher.
How to jump high.
Yeah, exactly. Work on the little technical bits.
So have you got a training group?
Well, kind of. I mean, because I left my group kind of mid-season, and obviously it wasn't planned. I did kind of drop my group then, and now I'm just training with my dad. But this first part of the winter is just the grunt work, I guess. It's just getting all the work done to be able to jump. But I will be jumping with people in January.
Yeah, because I think I used to see you in Birmingham on the weekends when we were doing the coaching classes. I was always, because you guys are always like trying to jump, and then there's like people in the background doing the coaching classes, throwing.
That was fun.
When you're doing the winter training, is there a mixture of it being outdoors and indoors, like jumps wise, or is it all based off of like that time of the year? So obviously when it gets cold, so say like from next month till maybe March, indoors, and then you go outdoors, or is there a nice mixture between?
All my jumping would be indoors, and then the rest of the stuff's a bit of both. But luckily with high jump, I'm not having to run that far, so after I've done like the first few weeks of like the longer runs, then it cuts down quite a bit. So
is that that sounded like the longer runs? What's the long run for a high jumper? Because I know it varies quite a lot between any of the jump events. So obviously for a long jumper and a triple jumper, it's quite speed based, and then maybe depending on who your coach is, it could be 120s the max you do. Sometimes it's as much as 300. For yourself, what would be a long session for you?
I think this year probably the max is going to be 200, 250, something like that. I mean, start of winter, I'll be doing like 20-minute runs, and like longer like fartlek sessions and stuff. And then by the time I get to competing, I'll be like 60 meters max, which is nice. Yeah, all speed based.
But would that be in a high amount or quite short, snappy stuff? By
the time I'm competing, it'll be quite short, snappy stuff. Then go back into harder training again. So I'll be doing 150s, 200s in like April time. Well, March, April time, depending on what I kind of end up doing indoors.
Okay.
So yeah.
Sounds cool. Too bad. What was your... So you've been competing or been doing track and field since you were 5.
Yeah.
I think most things start around with the under 11 stuff. First outdoor, I assume, would be under 13.
Yeah.
When did you start getting the thought process for English schools, Southerns, counties?
Yeah. English
kind of
school.
Like backwards, but yeah.
I'm trying to work out how old are you in English schools? Juniors?
As young as, so 13.
Okay.
13,
14.
Yeah, so I think with me, because my dad was my coach and I've always been in that kind of mindset where this is my career, everything was quite serious from a young age. I think that's why I did have quite a lot of success at a young age, because I was that far ahead in terms of like my training and my mindset and all that kind of stuff. So I think my first English schools, it was a weird one. I mean, I won it, which was great. I did long jump. But like every morning, my dad made me do like circuits before breakfast. Like it was intense. It wasn't like,
your circuits were breakfast.
Basically. Yeah. It wasn't like, I'll go to English schools and see how I do. It was like, you're going to English schools and you're going to do well. Like, I think so. Yeah, it was weird. I think that's why I feel like I've been in the sport for so long, because it has been very serious from a very young age.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it was really serious. It was fun as well. I mean, like English schools, UK school games, all the Southern champs, like
UK school games.
UK school games is the best time ever.
Wow, you're taking it back some years.
Yeah, and that was the end of season as well. That was always in September time. So you've been on holiday. You're back. I think you're back at school.
Yeah.
And then you go away for a week.
September.
Yeah,
you are back at school. By the time
I was like, this is great.
Because that's normally either the middle of September or towards like the end of September. Yeah. So, but there was always good performances. Like I always remember seeing it, and the performances were almost mirrored of like maybe England champs or something.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of people like go into it thinking, whatever happens in my season, this day is just for me to enjoy.
Yeah.
People didn't really care, but they were just like, I'm just going to perform, and if I get PB at the end of the season, happy days.
Exactly.
So did you go English schools every year throughout your junior career?
No, so I think I went to English schools twice.
Okay.
Or maybe 3 times. All those times I did long jump. And the last time I did it was 2013, which was the same year as World Youths.
Okay.
And I think I got 3 no jumps, so that was good. That was a good time.
English schools or
both?
Oh.
So yeah.
Okay, talk us through that. So first international champs.
Yeah.
3 no jumps. That's got to be tough mentally.
Yeah.
Was your dad there for this competition?
Yeah. So I went to World Youth for heptathlon. I think I was maybe ranked in the top. I think I was meant to get a medal at that champs. Like it was crazy. Like went there. Everyone was like, "Oh, you're gonna win." Had like press conference and stuff. Like it was very intense. And then I was leading after day 1, jump 190 in the high jump at like I think I was maybe 16 or 17. And then jumped at World Champs.
It's fine. It happens. It happens.
So that was like all mad, and then the next day long jump, 3 no jumps, and that was just over. Like, that wasn't too great.
So having gone in knowing that, okay, if I perform to the best of my abilities, I can get a medal, and then that happens to you, like, how did that affect you going forward? Like, did that kind of spur you on more, or did you kind of like sit in the dungeons for a bit of your mind?
More circus training in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. I think it affected me, because I almost felt like I did it to myself, because I'd shown like a few weeks before English schools, I'd done the same thing, and then I hadn't really learned from it. I've been, okay, cool, pushed it aside, and then did the same thing again, which was hard. And then obviously having all that pressure from other people, from like the media and from like the team and stuff, and then extra pressure for myself, my family and everything. I think it was all a lot. And then the next year I had World Juniors, and the same thing was like kind of happening again. I had a really good high jump, like everything was going well. Then long jump the next day, and I was like, this needs to go well. Like I was like, I couldn't even think about anything else. All I was thinking about was like, if this long jump goes well, then the rest of it's gonna be fine. And then luckily it did. I didn't jump amazingly, but like I got points, so that's all that mattered.
I mean, I suppose you get to that point where it's like, you know what, the last few times that I've done this at majors has not been great for me.
Yeah.
But you know, if I get something, it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
Something on the board.
At the same time, I suppose you mentally you're still like, but I still need something decent because I need this amount of points to stay in that position. So with all those things going on, your brain must be firing like crazy at that
everywhere.
point in time. But you won. So off the back of that, did things start to change for you track and field wise? Because obviously sponsors start hollering and then you get interviews here, you get interviews there. Like when did it start becoming more of a big thing and you started noticing your free time start dwindling?
That was mad. That champs was such good championships. I mean, Oregon was amazing. The team was so good as well. Like we had a really strong team, few medals, and like everything about the champs was really good. And then I think after, obviously, I think I signed with Nike either that year or the year before, who have like really helped my career. And just so many different things happening. I think I was so young. I think it must have been 17, and I'd achieved so much. And then I think a couple of years later, it all kind of hit me, and I was like, whoa. What was it?
May I have your attention, please? A fire has been reported. Please leave the building immediately.
Oh my God.
Hey guys, apologies. We had a fire alarm, which wasn't actually a fire alarm, so we had to leave, come back. That's why I'm changed. There's now jacket for the chair. So picking up where we left off, we were talking about sponsors and how it affected Morgan's life going forward. So Morgan, would you please
carry on?
Even if we backtrack a little bit, it's fine.
After Oregon, there was like that whole like season was so mad. I went to IWF Awards, went to like Sports Personality, like went to so many different things which I just never even thought I'd be at. Got Red Bull as a sponsor, Nike, like everything was just mad, to be honest. I think I put a lot of expectation on myself after that. I was like, okay, so I've won it like at 17, so when the next one comes around, 2016, like I'm gonna win that, and then I'm gonna like get an Olympic medal. I think in my head I was like, right, okay,
stage one complete, stage two.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I think that's the thing about like when you're younger, you just like PB every single week, and everything's just so easy because you're like, okay, cool, just do a little bit of harder training, and then that next thing will happen, and it gets to a stage where it's like that's not always gonna be how track is. I think it's taken me a few years to kind of actually be happy with. So I jumped 194 this year, which is the same jump I jumped in 2014, and like when I jumped it this year, I was so happy. Whereas anyone looking at that could be like, yeah, but she jumped that when she was 17. Like she should be better than that now. But yeah, it's just such like a process.
That's a question I had for you as well. I mean, it's so hard like with the field events because to some people like a centimeter increase is nothing, but to field athletes, like, yo, you don't understand how hard I've had to train for this. So when you do have those performances that aren't, you know, okay, so 197 is your PB.
Yeah.
So for you, anything from 190, let's say 194, would you consider that as a good performance, or you know?
Definitely.
It's not what you're looking for.
Yeah, it's hard one because obviously you go out every competition, you want to be your best, you want a PB, which is not always going to happen. So anything over 90, I'm like, okay, that's solid. Like, well, I would say 90 is like a bad day, but I'm still happy. It's like on that edge. And then 94, 95, 96, like I'd be really happy with some of those jumps. So yeah, it is hard because I think people just think, oh, you can just go out there and jump 90 or any other day. And it's like, yeah, but you have to train so hard to kind of get to that point anyway. And just that little centimetre is just a difference. Like, you can change so much just to get a centimetre.
What's the biggest height you've come into a competition? Like, have you ever decided, like, okay, I'm gonna come in at 180? Like, if you were obviously full of confidence and you knew you could do it, would you ever come in at such a high height?
She's coming in at 193, bro.
197.
It's at 197. I'm winning the competition right now.
I know, imagine like your first jump, just go into it and just go, winning jump.
So I usually come in at 180. That's like, most comps. And then I think the highest will probably come in is like 182, maybe 85 actually. So yeah, probably. Do
you always like feel like, okay, you know what? Or do you plan that before the competition? Or do you go to the competition and go, I'm feeling very well, so I'm going to come into it later?
It kind of depends what competition it is. I think if the bar's starting lower and I've got like maybe like 45 minutes to an hour before I even come in, I'm going to come in a bit lower just to get a jump done and then
get warm
into it.
Is it hard? Because like, depending on where the starting point is it quite hard having that whole, you've warmed up, I don't know how long you warm is, say 45 minutes, you've warmed up, and then you go and warm up again because you need to get your steps right, make sure everything's correct, and then you're sitting down. Like, what do you do in that time to keep yourself active, to keep your muscles from falling asleep? What's it like for you on the infield?
It's weird because your core room, say I'm competing at like 5 o'clock, so my core room will be at 4. I'll stop warm up at 3, and it's like 2 hours before I've even started a competition yet. So I think just like energy levels, caffeine levels, all that is really important as well, because I could do my warm up, have the best warm up ever, and then get out there and my energy's just dropped, and then I'm kind of just like on that level.
I've been to like wait around as well, because I've never, I'm a sprinter, so I've never had to do that. But I've seen a lot, obviously, the long jump and the pole vaulters do it a lot. Like, pole vaulters take all day. But I can't imagine just waiting there and waiting for other people to compete, knowing, okay, I'm not even jumped yet. Like, do you just watch everyone, or do you just like try and compose yourself and play music?
I try and...
Or listen to podcasts.
I think I used to just be so like involved in the competition and just while I'm waiting, just watch everyone and just have a chat and just not really kind of get out of like my head a little bit. Whereas now, like the bigger competitions, it's almost like as soon as it starts, I'm coming in, because 180 is probably the height that everyone would start at. But I think like domestic competitions, I'd just try and not get too involved in the competition and maybe start my warm up a bit later. It's like when the early heights are on, I start warming up a little bit more then, just kind of like keeping active. So it depends on the competition.
How tense is the call room for, I mean, I assume it's quite tense for every event, but you know, like you hear some stories where like the sprinters call room, like it's like a war zone in there.
Oh, that's so different to fields,
no one smiles in this sprinters one.
You make friends along the way as well. Like, when you compete against people 5 and 6 times throughout the year, I assume that you get talking to them and it becomes a little bit easier. When you're in the call room, are you speaking with them, or are you still kind of like, nah, for right now, where I've just finished one up, I'm going to take some time, and then maybe when we get on the infield, I might say hello, I might give you a little bit of conversation. I
think the call room's chill, because everyone's like, I've got at least an hour before I even start competing again. I've done my warm up, like, what am I going to do in this time? I'm not going to just be stressed and like just have all that energy. So the call room's quite nice.
Because what was it like for your first Olympics? That's actually, because you were quite young, and going into it, were you the youngest?
I was youngest in the GB team. I'm not sure I was the youngest high jumper. There's a few, Because like, I would have been obviously getting in there and going like, okay, I know where you are. I've seen you on TV for so long, and being in the same call room as them. Because I would have guessed you probably have come in earlier than you would have now. That was really weird. I mean, I saw Blanca Vlasic was in my like little call room. I sat next to her and I was like, this is so weird. Like I was such a fangirl. People in my competition, I was like, right, I can't even think of this. I have to compete against these people. So that was so weird. I think I spent the whole Olympics just walking around like, this is mad. Like this
not
is like
realizing that everyone else look at you that way as well.
Probably not.
I'll be honest with you, I would have fanboyed the whole way through. I mean,
it was crazy.
Way back when I used to come here and train. We're at the Valley, by the way, guys. I caught wind of like Tyson Gay being here, and me and my coach, we were coming here to train anyway. I could not have got out the car any faster to go and try and meet this guy, and it so happened that he was coming out as I was coming in, and I was just, oh my god, you're Tyson Gay! Can I get a picture of you? And you know, like that will always stick with me as just how excited I was to see him. So I can imagine, and I was probably around the same age you was then when he was at the Olympics, and I was just at Lee Valley, but you being at the Olympics, that must have been like amazing because you're around everybody.
All different sports as well.
The Olympic Village as well, like being in that little environment.
I would have had my phone out. I would have just been snapping. Listen, Usain Bolt could have been over there, and I'm like.
I remember there was a point where I think it was Usain Bolt's birthday, and because I don't know what, like how the village was set up. Anyway, there was like loads of people outside of his room just like singing happy birthday to him. And I was like, this is like, you're Olympians and you're singing, like it was just mad because these are famous people, just all so weird. Like everyone's just on
the side of being famous, do you get stopped in the street and like, oh my god, you're Morgan Lake? Like, do you have that?
I have a couple of times. I think it's more like if there's a champs on, people are interested in athletics. They've seen people, and then 2 months later they're like, don't know who that is. So I think that's the thing with athletics. It's kind of like waves.
Okay. So if you went out in the street now, you could walk down the road and be fine.
Easily.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay. We might have to test. We might test this.
Very sure.
We might test this. I don't know. We'll see how we're feeling as it goes on. Being that you were so young and you're still quite young, are you still in uni?
Yes.
So
kind of.
Kind of. Okay.
I mean, I haven't been to uni.
What's kind of?
No, so I am still in uni. So I'm in my 3rd year.
Okay.
Studying psychology. Okay. So, but I think in my head I'm like, okay, cool. I think from school and stuff, I always found it a lot easier to give myself a lot of stress.
Yeah.
And then perform. I think it was almost I had to I couldn't just go and do my homework. Like I had to do it last minute when I'm being forced. Like
you actually do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's how I got my best results. And I think I've stupidly gone into uni with that mindset as well. So I'm like, right, I'll just like pie everything up and then do it all at once. So
how's that working for you?
It's not working great. I should have learned. But yeah, no, it's a good distraction as well. Like I do really enjoy psychology. So I think learning about that and then like also kind of seeing how it goes on the track and stuff, that really helps me as well.
Does the uni accommodate for you, obviously being an athlete? I can imagine the psychology lecturers must be like loving it, just knowing that you are competing at that level and having to come into some of your assignments to them.
Yeah.
Do you use SPSS?
Unfortunately, I hate that thing. I hate that so much.
Imagine Excel like on steroids.
Honestly,
like it's
the
worst piece of equipment ever.
You guys can show me afterwards. You guys can show me what it looks like.
Because I can imagine like you going in, obviously psychology links heavily to your sport.
Yeah.
Do they ever want to like have a conversation with you about things like that, or do they just?
I think because I'm a Loughborough and there's a lot of athletes and a lot of things like in my lectures will be brought back to sport as well, even though it's like not a sports degree. It's almost like everyone in your lecture, like you wouldn't go in normal clothes to a lecture, like that is weird. Like if I rocked up in jeans, all my friends would be like, "Ooh, like why are you dressing up?" Like, yeah, literally everyone's in trackies, everyone's in sports kit. Like it's cool. It's very chill.
That sounds quite relaxed.
It's very chill.
I will be using that to the most. I'll be coming in my socks and my sliders. Maybe come with my bathrobe and just chill.
Bathrobe.
I'm here. But yeah, like, are they quite lenient towards you where they know that you could be flying out here, there, and everywhere to maybe do a photo shoot or to go and do training. How does that work with you and them?
They are really lenient. Like, they're really good about it. I think because they've just had so many top level athletes come through the uni, they know how to kind of help the athlete and the student at the same time.
Yeah.
So yeah, all my lectures are recorded, so if I have to be in a different country, I can still watch it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get extensions, but that's kind of, you don't really get extensions. It's just major circumstances you would. I haven't had one yet.
Like, obviously, going into the Olympics, like, they'll give you an extension.
Yeah. If you're like, I'm competing this day, like, no, you have to do this exam. Like, they will be lenient to a point. Right. But yeah, no, it's good. Like, obviously being at like the track and the lectures are 2-minute walk away. Like, everything's pretty easy and set up for you.
Yeah. What time did you use to train? Oh, well, did you train at Loughborough at a time? Yeah. What time did you use to train? Because I know there's a group at like 6:30.
Yeah, not that group. I used to train at 9, so.
Yeah, it wasn't too early. It wasn't too early.
No,
I know a lot of the
spring
spring group,
9 in the morning.
A lot of the spring group train like 6:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, which is I've been half asleep.
I couldn't do that.
Which do you prefer? Because obviously you're starting out in the sport, I assume most of your training would have been in the evening because you're at school and whatever. Now as an adult, would you still prefer to do that, or do you like doing like the early sessions or like a midday session? I
prefer the early sessions because I like getting up, not just getting it done, but like because it's more of like a job now, whereas before, I wouldn't say it's a job, like I still love it, still like all that, but before it was like, I have school and then I do athletics in the afternoon, in the evening, whereas now it's like, I wake up, this is what I want to do, and then kind of get it done. Yeah, but the hard thing about this year, because Doha, everything was so late, like I think most of my rounds were, well, I did one, but the thing was at like 8. So all my training going into it was in the evening. So I found that really hard because I had to
try and adapt to your conditions.
How it's going to be out there. So all day I was just kind of waiting around for the session. Whereas if you get your session over and done with, it's like, I've got the rest of the day to do everything I need to do. So I think I prefer the morning, but I probably should start getting towards the evenings a bit more. Okay,
well, I suppose it helps because at least you know which one your body's going to prefer at that time. Yeah. How hot was it in training in Doha?
It's like, it's the maddest heat ever.
And the whole air conditioning thing in the stadium. Like, I want to hear about that because I heard there was a lot of, some people were loving it, some people were hating it. What was your take?
So it wasn't really the heat that was that bad. Like, it was more the humidity. So as soon as you stepped outside, you would just feel it instantly. You couldn't just like wait around outside. If it's like waiting for a taxi or whatever, 5 minutes, you'd be done. Like, that was too much to stand in that heat. But the thing is, what they did well was they had an indoor track where you could warm up. So I did all my training and warm up indoors. Then you'd go outside for like 5 minutes to walk to the core room, get in the core room, which is all air conditioned, get to the stadium, it's air conditioned. So there was not one point I was like, I'm too hot, I've lost my energy. Like, they actually did that really well.
Were they far apart in terms of like the warm-up area, core room to the stadium? Was it far apart or were they quite close?
Pretty close. I mean, it's, about a 5-minute walk between the warm-up and core room. So
by the time you get, oh my God, I'm so hot.
Yeah.
Someone get me a towel.
Honestly. Training wasn't fun though, because we had our training camp in Dubai, and that was so hot. Like, I was not expecting it. Like, even though our sessions were all in the evening, we get to track about 6, and still by then it was, after like a lap, you're just
dying. Like, someone get my water now. I need an asthma pump. I'm just dying.
I just felt so bad for the endurance runners. They had like ice towels on them.
They pretty much had to like go outside. Like, where would they train?
You know when you think to yourself, it's hot indoors, I'm gonna walk outside and cool down. It's like the complete opposite. It's like, no, I'm gonna go inside and sit down and try avoid going outside for the next.
How like people just go to the malls in Dubai? You just like
just literally
go from your house in the car, mall. You literally don't walk outside at all.
Crazy.
In your spare time while you was out there, like what did you do? Like, when you weren't training, obviously I assume you've got friends like within the team and stuff. So how did you guys spend your time?
nothing too exciting, to be honest. I think just like catching up, chatting, reading. I mean, the hard thing about training in the evenings and competing in the evenings is that you can't waste too much energy in the day.
Yeah.
So a lot of napping. I think meal times is when everyone's like getting to meal times, and that's when you like chat for ages, because that's when there wasn't really a space where you could just kind of like chill together. So at meal times, people would be sat there for ages and chatting. So yeah, nothing too exciting.
So another topic would be the crowd in Dubai. In Doha.
In
Doha. What was that like for your experience?
Yeah.
Obviously, we've seen what the media said, and we were watching it on TV as well. But how did you find that?
So for my event, I kind of got out. I think I was on the first day, so got out there. And usually, if it's the first day, first session, it's not going to be packed anyway. Qualifying rounds, no one's really that interested in it. So I was like, okay, fair enough. I wasn't expecting a big crowd, so that was fine. It's more qualifying. It's just you just focus on the event, get your job done, and then the finals when you then hope for that atmosphere. So I kind of didn't really think much about it. And then the next day, when the hundreds were on, I was like, the crowd is still empty. Like, where is everyone? And then obviously for the final, there was still no one. And it was weird because I spoke to like a few people who were in Doha, and I was like, are you gonna go and watch the championships? And they're like, can't get there. I was like, oh, okay, why? They're like, the traffic's too bad. And I just thought, it's just so strange. I was like, people from their own country can't go and watch the championships because the traffic's too bad around the stadium, but there was no one in this. Like, it just didn't, like, nothing was adding up. It was just weird.
They probably ordered off like a lot of roads leading
they
to
must
it.
have
So
done.
they were like, well, you know, if I've got a park 2 miles away from the track, I ain't walking 2 miles from my car in this heat.
In that heat as well.
I mean, that might be a thing. That actually might be why it was. And then when they realized, okay, right, we're not making any sales, let's just open it up. And but then I'd assume that a stadium that big would have a car park,
like underground or something.
But then they might want to keep that space for the athletes.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just weird. Like everything else around the championships was, I think, quite well done. Maybe apart from like the timings, events and stuff, but the organisation wise was quite good. Having no one in the stadium was weird because you didn't really feel the impact of the event. So when I was there, obviously it was World Championships, huge, but with no one there, no one's really taking much interest in it. It's weird. And then I came home early, and I came home when the heptathlon was on. And saw how big it was over here. Like, it was on all the newspapers. Like, BBC coverage was so good. And the stadium started filling up. And I was like, okay, now it's the World Championships. Like, it's so weird. The first half was like, oh, this is like end of season kind of competition that's going out. And then by the time the end championships, it was amazing. So
yeah, because I mean, it was literally like from the 3rd or 4th day onwards that it started to fill up. And then by the last day, it was like, oh, so there are people here. So maybe we could like somehow reverse time and just pull these people back to the beginning and then hold it the whole way through. That would have been so much better. But I mean, I suppose it was a bit of a downer at the beginning, but track and field has that.
Did you go and see any events yourself?
So I was out there for, I think it was the men's triple jump and the women's pole vault was on at the same time. I think that was like a couple of days after I competed. And it was empty, like still empty. And they wouldn't let us get to the other side of the stadium where the triple jump was. So everyone was trying to like crowd around and get to watch the triple jump because like there was nothing else on. And so we were like, okay, try and snuck down to where like the media zone was. And Mike Powell was there. And it was like empty. And they asked Mike Powell to move. We're like, how are you asking the world record holder to move from an empty seat into another empty seat? Like, it made no sense.
Because they probably didn't realize who he was.
No, true.
I was going to say, like, as an athlete, do you have seats allocated where you can sit? Or is it just, you know? You do. But I think with, like, usually, when was it? In London, like, it was full every single day. And you had allocated seats, and to be fair, it was quite hard to kind of get around if you didn't want to sit there and move somewhere else. Like a few people could do it, but it was hard to get like masses of people around, so that's fair enough. But when it's an empty stadium and you're trying to get into a different block, it's like it shouldn't really be.
that difficult. But
because obviously in the British trials, you get like a pass that allows you to go into certain areas.
Yeah.
And shouldn't it just be that for athletes really? Because you could just move into that little long jump area on the home straight. Like, you should really
everywhere.
Yeah. Just all athletes just watch and sit down. Well, in the triple jump area, because that's probably like the best place to see if you're watching the 100. So any event.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't know. it was a weird chance, but yeah, by the end of it, it was amazing. So
in a stadium like that, it must be hard to generate any sort of like clapping to get yourself going. I can't remember if you did, but at any point did you do that during the champs? Was it something that you thought about, or?
I did think about it on my third attempt, but I didn't in the end. To be fair, I didn't actually realise how empty it was until after the competition, until I went on Twitter and everyone's like, oh, the stadium's empty. And I was like, oh yeah, it was actually. It was really empty. And then obviously the next few days, because we were watching like the coverage out there, and it wasn't even on like Doha TV. Like someone had to stream it from somewhere else. Like it was so weird.
Get the Wi-Fi, get the Wi-Fi up, push it here, and
it was weird. It was like in the country, it was big. Like there were ad stuff everywhere, but actually on TV you couldn't find it.
That's strange.
Yeah, it was.
But then saying that, strange. Sometimes that's what it's like with here as well. Like there's only a few events that, I mean, if it's a Diamond League, all up, like you can find it. But then when it's like maybe a World Challenge or something, you sometimes got to dig real deep.
I don't know how you're finding that.
Sometimes Diamond League is only on iPlayer. Like you have to literally look for it to be able to watch it most of the time anyway. So it's like you should technically be BBC free or shove it on there somewhere on live TV, you know, because they're actually good events, but everyone only focus on Olympics every 4 years or every year. I think this is the first time the World Championship has been focused on anyway. So I feel like it's getting better.
Yeah, it's getting better.
I think it's only getting better because of social media though. Because there's a lot of controversies that have been coming through. And I think that's why it's all getting slowly, people are getting involved because there's more controversy.
There's controversy. You'll find people.
There's more controversy all over it. So it's quite interesting to see, like, obviously from yourself and every other athlete, that how do they find that, like, going into it and thinking, I'm going to go to a stadium that has no people.
Yeah.
Why is this a major event for me?
In some respects, I suppose it's kind of like when you're competing, you can only beat who's there, and you can only entertain who's in the stadium. Yeah. So I suppose for some athletes, they will look and be like, you know what, I don't care if there's 5 people in here, I'm still gonna go and do a performance.
But some people also, they use the crowd to their advantage. Some people like people watching them and then performing, and some people don't. So obviously you get
it's a catch-22. Some people can be great in like smaller domestic competitions, and then when they get out there onto the bigger stuff, it's like, okay, didn't really think about this the whole way through.
I think it's a weird one. I think sometimes you don't even notice in the competition that there's no one there, and then as soon as competition like hots up, then that's when you want the crowd involved. That's when you just like get the excitement over and done with. But I think in qualifying rounds and stuff, most of the time people won't go out there to watch like the 100 heats and stuff. They'll go out there to watch the final. So I think for the first couple of days it was like, okay, fair enough. But then when people were not watching the 100-meter final, that was the bit where I was like, what? So strange. But
I mean, I was sitting there with I was with some of my boys to watch the final, and we were just like, we were watching the race, but like, the stadium's so empty, like what's going on? But like I said, I mean, you can only entertain who's there, and at the end of the day, you're there to do a job, regardless of if there's 10 people in the stadium or 100,000 people. At the end of the day, if I cross that line first place,
you're still world champion for life. Like,
I'm world champion for the next 2 years.
Doesn't matter if 10,000 people watch you or one person. So
it's not so bad. But then, do you not find that we have that a lot here when it comes to British champs? Yeah. So I suppose for us, sometimes it's not as big as a thing if you see a stadium empty, because you notice it quite a lot. Like that whole other side of the stadium is just covered with sheets and stuff. Yeah. And then,
I mean, we have more crowd in the English schools.
Yeah.
Like we generally do.
But then that's because they've got what?
And Diamond Leagues.
8 or 9 different counties all up in the stadium, and each county has at least 50 athletes in there.
Man, free tickets to the kids.
So I think
free tickets, giving us free yogurt in the stands. I'm not bothered. But then, I'm giving out free yogurts constantly.
Do you only give it to kids?
What?
Do you only give the tickets to kids?
I think yeah, because if you want to make the sport better and last longer, it's probably realistic to give it to school kids. Like, obviously, you can give it to coaches as well. Like, obviously, there's other coaches out there that have worked for years and stuff that can also give, but realistically, to kids. Because if you bring a kid, it's free ticket, the parents pays for one. They automatically pay for one, or their club gets a minibus to get everyone else involved as well.
For every ticket that parent buys, will give you 2 free kids.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
that could work.
That could work.
Like the next one, obviously, next year is in Manchester. Have you competed in Manchester before?
Yeah.
Is it for the triple A's?
I can't remember what it was. Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
for that.
probably. Like, that's where it is now. It's not as big, but it's wider. Like, it's just a massive circle. So I don't know how people are gonna feel for that, because it's just, I think it's 3 seats. It's about 3 or 4 seats up.
I can't even remember.
It just,
it's so long ago.
it's only one floor. Like,
personally, I'm not really a fan of Manchester, but you know, I would much prefer it to be. I think they should make use of the Olympic Stadium.
Yeah.
I think they should make.
That'd be amazing. I remember Crystal Palace, like going to watch Crystal Palace Diamond League.
Crystal Palace was
that was the best competition ever. Watching, all I remember watching is Christine and Goldie Sayers, like when I was younger, and like having those stars in London, well, it could be anywhere in the country, to be honest.
Yeah.
But be able to see that and actually having a full stadium with fireworks and that was just so exciting.
Crystal Palace was just, I don't know why.
I don't know why. It was like magic.
Crystal Palace that was amazing.
It was sick.
One of the times I went, I was on the back straight, and this was when they still had like spa sprints. So this was like 2006, 2007. And then the next time I went, I remember Bolt dropped to 59 in the 2, just cruising, and I was like near the finish line. I was like, yo, this atmosphere is just so good. And they used to hold like Southerns there as well, and Southerns always churned out amazing performances at Crystal Palace. And you know, now it's kind of like, Southerns is on. Oh, where is it? Lee Valley. I'll pass. No disrespect to you guys. No disrespect to you guys. I love you lot, but you know, I think that also does play a massive part in people coming, like where it's gonna be. So if it's in Manchester, are people gonna travel that far?
Yeah, that's the question.
That's the worry I have. I was like, are people
down south going to travel?
Hours.
But then there's also that question of people from like Newcastle that come all the way to Birmingham and stuff. Like they always have to do that trip.
Yeah. I suppose if you're interested, you'll make the effort.
Yeah.
But I genuinely feel like if you say, it's in London, people automatically can be like, oh, London, I can go do this, I can go do this, I can go do this.
Because a lot of people just come for the weekend rather than just like an event. Because you go to Manchester, what are you going to do in Manchester? No offense, man. I'm from Liverpool, so before any Manchester people, like, go and watch the football game, it's fine.
Do you do like school visits? Do you visit schools and stuff and have talks to the kids? What's it like?
I haven't done that many. But when I've done them, I've like always loved them. It's always nice going back to schools. I went to like so many schools when I was younger. I think I went to like maybe like 5 or 6 schools. So when like old school were like, oh, do you want to come back? I'm like, I don't actually know. Like I haven't actually been back to my old school to talk. I've been to like schools like around my area and stuff. It's so weird. I mean, I'll like talk to the kids and like have stuff, and then afterwards they'll get like millions. They won't really interact that much when you're there, and then afterwards you just have so many messages on like Instagram and Twitter and stuff. It's so weird because you forget that like when I was younger, if I saw someone, that was it. Like I get their autograph and that was it. Whereas now you can actually interact with people.
Try.
So many questions.
You can try to interact with them.
But it's really cool. Like I think that side of it's really cool. Yeah.
So I got a question for you on that side of things. Like, how do you because you only have one Instagram as far as I'm aware. How do you balance like having, you know, all the questions from like all the fans and stuff, and then like some of your general friends, but they might not have like, you know, personal contact to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
How do you balance like going through that list?
It's not that long.
Really? I mean,
just scrolling every day.
I mean, if I go onto your thing now, I'm pretty sure I'll see like 29 point something followers. That's quite a lot. And DMs are there. It's a lot of stuff.
No, it is. I think it's one of those things like you have to properly engage with it now. Whereas like you can make not a lot of money off Instagram, but like you can build your brand up, build yourself as an athlete on social media and stuff, which is quite cool. And also just like talking to people, like I'll have a lot of time to talk to like young athletes because that's what I would have loved as a young athlete myself. And I know speaking to like older athletes when I was their age meant so much to me and like kind of kept me in the sport as well. Which is cool.
On that, so one question I'll ask you is, do you get a lot of people like messaging you saying, oh, I think you could do this and this would help with your training and blah blah blah? Do you get a lot of that?
I don't, but I know a lot of athletes that do.
Okay.
Like a lot of people just get like told things by people and like, where have you got this information from? Like, do you know my training prep? Yeah, true.
Google.
Google's wrong.
Listen, you can find a whole training prep on Google. I've seen people come and say, yeah, I saw so and so do this and I want to do this, and it's like, but that doesn't work with what we have planned now. Oh, but I still want to try it. All right. Go for it.
That was me when I was younger though. I used to like Google, what did Jessica Ennis eat? What did she do? Like every 2 minutes.
I'm gonna go on that in a second, but you mentioned like people potentially like dropping out early and stuff. Over here, once they kind of reach under 20s is when like for females it starts filtering out, where not as many people are still coming through the ranks. What kept you in it, and what do you think would help keep other female athletes in the sport past an under 20 stage?
I think I was quite lucky in the sense, like I said it before, like I've always known I wanted to do athletics, and I've always known that was like my career path. So I didn't really find it too hard to kind of keep motivated. Obviously, like with results, you're going to be motivated anyways to like go to the next stage. But I had a lot of like training partners and people I competed against who were at the same level and did still drop out. And I guess a lot of that was from like funding, like uni, and just having to think of a different path. So yeah, and it's that, I guess that passion as well. Like I had a like training partner who was absolutely amazing. Like she could have like been one of the best, but just didn't really apply themselves. Like didn't really have that drive to kind of like stay in.
Sorry, there's no names. We'll never know
what
we're talking about. It's fine.
That's wrong anyway. It's like almost like sometimes they don't know how good they are, and they haven't got. I think there's a lot more role models now. Like I would say, like some of the biggest, probably the biggest stars at the moment in British athletics are female, which is good. I guess I don't really know what could help it. I was thinking about that earlier. Like I don't actually know what could keep people in the sport. I guess it's just.
Do you think if I think it's probably the thing with the education system, because a lot of people, it's when they get to college and you go, oh, I've got this work to do. I finished college at like 4. I'm not going to training again. And then going to sleep, do my assignment. You know, trying to find that balance in your work life and social life. So now, like people having social life is quite important. So definitely. If you're training 5 times a week, you know having a social life. Social life is very, very limited. And then when you're off, it's probably be like you're doing your work or you're revising and stuff. So I think it's just about finding that balance in it, because I do know a lot of girls that have quit but they still love the sport. But at the same time, because they can't see themselves. It's so like you said, they drive. They can't see themselves going to the next stage, and even though they have the ability to, but they can't physically say. You can't force someone. No matter how good the coach is, you can't really change someone's mindset in that way. Because you said you had your dad, you had all these people around you.
Yeah, I had a lot of people around me.
And that might be the difference between a girl staying in longer than not staying in longer.
Yeah, that's true. I think just having those people to kind of like back you. I had my friends and my family just always
believe in you.
Yeah, always believed in me and always believed that this was actually a career. Whereas I think a lot of the time people see it as like something a hobby, like something on the side. And it's obviously so results driven as well. Like if you're not producing results, then you have to kind of take a look back and think, okay, well, maybe this is not the path I want to go. You have to put so much effort into it. It's like all or nothing.
Yeah, because like if you go to, imagine like training, going to English schools or whatever competition, and then or going to like the nationals and then not performing, or coming to the final and then coming last, and then you're going, I've got my A-level coming up next year. Do I want to focus on do that again next year, or do I just want to go to uni? Decision. And I think it's that decision making that we have to kind of like balance. What do you think of you've been a teacher? Yeah, that's
true.
It just suddenly, like, I was sitting there and I was listening to you and I was listening to Morgan, and I was just thinking, there's one clear way to keep kids in athletics and to push them into it as well. One of the reasons why I think kids aren't as involved in athletics is simply because they just view it as a summer thing. So if you look at it when you was in school, when did you start doing athletics? As soon as they got to like April, May, oh yeah, by the way, for the next 8 weeks or so, we're going to be doing athletics.
I'm going to spray a little track on the green.
Have the guy walking around with the paint on the grass track, and I ran 10.9 on the grass track and everything else. I think that's probably one of the ways to have kids more involved in athletics, is that you have to make it an all year thing. The same way that you'd have football in school the whole year round, you'd have basketball, cricket, maybe swimming. You'd have these things in the school throughout the year, because there'd be this after school club, but athletics always just has that it's a summer thing. So if it's
rounders.
Exactly that. So I think if you start off the school year from September, right, cool, we're going to be doing from September to, let's say, the end of October, we're going to do athletics outside, and then from November to March, we're going to start working on like the sports or athletics, because this is actually something that they have. And we have the because they have, what's it called, is it CESA? It was like a college it was a college type competition. They had it when I was doing track, so maybe they don't do it no more. But they had that. So I think the same way they have outdoor districts, they could do an indoor version of that. And you just, and obviously you have 60, 200, maybe not do the 400, because even professional athletes will say how tough it is indoors to do that. So maybe don't do that. But if you was to do that, you'd keep them more involved, because now they're looking at it as that, oh, wow, that track and field it is a yearly thing. Because I mean, even like the cross country guys, they go from doing cross country, they probably drop down a bit to do 5s, 10s, maybe a marathon if that's their thing. So maybe that's the way that we keep kids get them involved and then keep them involved. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll try it. I'll try it with my school and
obviously,
see what happens.
If anyone has like a way that can help, send us a message, drop us a message, and then we'll share it out with the world. We'll try to educate people.
I'm all for pushing it. And also I think you have to have people coming into the schools regularly, and not just like athletes. I think you should have coaches coming in, and you should be finding out, okay, how much is it going to be for this coach to come to the school and do this with a student? Because speaking from someone who works in the school and remembering what it was like when I was in school, if I think back now, I would not listen to the advice that my PE teacher's given me on track and field unless it was something that they've done. Like, there's so much information that gets passed around wrong when you're just reading it from the book, or you actually have that experience of doing it. And I think that would play a massive part in it as well, depending on how it's been relayed to the students.
Yeah, like some of my athletes they've done the nationals, they go to the nationals, and then this teacher brings out a book on how you get scored for your A-levels. And you know what is the most frustrating? Because if you get to the national, obviously international should be an A-star, because that's like the top you can go. But when you're a national athlete, you should be still getting an A. But like if you can get that standard, you should be getting an A. But then we get to like C's because of that.
On grass, you ran 10.9, then you go districts and you ran 10.1, like, because it's done by people who, I'm gonna say, they don't really know. Like, they do it for either from first footfall, or when they see the flag goes up and then they've said, yeah, cool, that's it, I'm clicking the stopwatch. So if you have like actual track and field people involved in it, I think that's how you get things done more. And I think us as a sport would have to do more. So coaches have to go to schools to pull out stuff and pull out athletes who they see are good. Because the PT can say, oh, you should go down the local track, but some athletes are like, no, I want to do football, man. I ain't trying to.
I asked my PE teacher.
I ain't trying to go down.
He ignored me.
I ain't trying to go down. But
and then I got bored and I saw boats in 2012 and I went in myself.
But there you go. Like, your PE teacher suggested it and you're like, no. But if you have a coach come in and say, no, I think you'd be really good at it, or an athlete comes and says, oh, I think you'd be really good at high jump, or you'd be really good at long jump.
It's different.
You're going to take that more because that's actually someone who does the sport and is making it a living for them. But track and field I think track and field is always going to have that kind of mindset to, like, people always have that mindset to track and field that it's just...
Yeah, but that's in the UK. That's another thing. That's in the UK.
In the UK.
You're not looking outside the square like, I want to run
today. Because then if you then go to like the US, like, that's a different atmosphere. Obviously, that's for every sport they do out there. But it's like, I think in a way we should sort of like use the style they use in the US for sport. We should use the same thing, the same end. Like, they compete pretty much every week.
I love how the US do their stuff like that.
I couldn't do that though.
I
love watching
the driving across countries for all these different meets. No, do you know what
I know, they're flying to different countries. Like, flying to different countries.
Do you know what I love with the American system? And I think it's more outdoors. When they have like the whole like show before the actual like football games, they have this massive show with like the band and stuff. And I think that is so sick.
Yeah.
We don't do that here. Or I think like
English
I think Harris Academy actually do something like that. I'm sure I've been told that they do something similar to that. So that's quite sick. But other schools now, I mean, we had a basketball match the other day and none of the students from our school were allowed to watch because it was intimidating to the other school. That is what we got told. It would be intimidating for the other school to have our students watch the game because obviously everyone's cheering for us and no one's cheering for them. And I was like, listen, I will leave. I'll defect teams and I'll be cheering. I'll give them pointers. I don't mind.
Just get an atmosphere.
Like, just to get something going. But if you're just playing a game to like yourselves and the two refs and maybe one or two teachers, like, that's boring.
You're gonna get bored,
That is boring. Like, I'm not gonna try as hard now, especially like if the team that we played, they were okay, but we won. But if they had an atmosphere to go off of, each team's performance would have been raised exponentially. Like,
because when you make a mistake, when people are watching, you don't want to make a mistake anymore.
Exactly.
When no one is watching, you don't really care. It's one of my teammates. He'll shut up in a minute.
Exactly. So I think across sports, we just need to do more.
But even like in Doha, like when, I know it's different end of the spectrum, but like when they had the light show, that was amazing. Like, that was such a big part of the whole champ.
I hated the light show simply. No.
Okay.
I know that is phrased so wrong. Don't. I disliked the light show simply because they didn't do it for everyone. That's what I didn't like. I feel like if you're gonna do it, do it.
Yeah.
Like I said before we started rolling, keep that same energy for everything. Like, they done it for the men's 100. I think they've done it for the men's 200. They may have done it for the women's 100.
They did it for that Teflon.
They didn't do it for the women's 200, which I thought, raw. Like, I would have definitely done it for this because Dina was just showing so much like great form throughout the rounds, like even from the 100, that she deserved to have that.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of other events where they didn't do it. I don't know if it was because they were trying to save money or...
I think it was because like there was other events going on at the same time. I think it was the last event of the day, then they could do it or something like that. I don't know, because they can't just shut off all the lights when people
but you give them a warning, like, by the way, we're going to do light shows soon. Just take a few more minutes to compose yourself and we'll get
doing
you
the 3K, just like lights go off.
Like, you might imagine you're throwing the jab and then the lights just shut off. You're like, listen, I'm not gonna lie, I'd use that to my whole advantage and go onto the grass and dash it and then quickly run back and like, oh my god, he just threw 96 meters. I'm like, yeah, well, y'all don't know how, but I did it. But yeah, I think the light show, I think it was a great idea. I just didn't think that they used it as well as they could have. I think that should have been a thing for
every event.
Yeah, every event. Or like you said, I mean, yeah, it was used for the finals, but I think important finals, every final is important, but there are some that stand out more than others. Like that should have been done. Yeah. You've got the triple jump there where you've got like you've got like the best field that we've had for such a long time, and the light show was nowhere to be seen. I would have been loving that.
Yeah,
I think that would have been sick.
Yeah, that's the weird thing about triple jump. Like, I don't know what the coverage was like back here. It was probably quite good, but like there you don't. Like there you didn't even know like this is such an amazing competition between like Christian and Will. Like it's crazy, but
over here it was still quite the same. Like we would maybe see like the first couple of rounds, and then 3, 4, and 5 you would catch it on a highlight. Yeah. They would just bring it back and be like, oh, by the way, they'd make it act like it's happening now, but we know that that's probably like from 10-15 minutes over, because then the next thing you know, we're in the last round already, and it's like, oh, okay. But these guys have both jumped over 18 meters. One guy's like a few centimeters away from the world record. This guy's now hot on his heels to win a medal. And he's never beaten Christian at a major champs. If any year was gonna beat, it would have been this year. Like that is something that you push.
Amazing story.
That is something that you push, and even like some of the things that this is, Will's never won a world title. Like he's won a world indoor title twice, but I suppose like I was saying earlier, it's like almost devalued, because if you're saying he's never won it, but by my count he's got 2. You know, I don't know. But yeah, the coverage for that wasn't amazing, and that was like one of the best field events that they had going. Yeah,
it's weird. I don't know why it's like that.
I would love to.
It's sad being a field eventer, but
I mean, field events have always they've always had that where they don't get the coverage that they should. Yeah. But there has to be some way that they can get as much coverage as the track events. I mean, I don't particularly watch distance events because it's not my thing, but they get so much coverage as opposed to field events.
Like they're watching 10K.
But then I suppose
because it's like interactive, you can like choose what event you want to watch.
That would
have
be
like split screens or something like.
But then do you know what it probably is as well? If there's a track event, there's just a track event. When there's a field event, there's at least 3 different field events going on at that time. So unless they have the interactive stuff. And they're all going for a long
time. So
yeah. What's the longest competition you've been
in? Probably like at a big level, probably the Olympic qualifying. That was that one of a couple of hours, I think. That was long. That was a long day.
Knowing myself, I would have probably been like, yeah, I'm taking a nap. Someone wake me when it's my turn, because I'm gonna sleep here because I can't stay awake for this. Yeah.
What stage did you get to in that competition? Was it, did you get to the final?
Yeah, made the final. I think it was a weird final because basically I think they just wanted the competition to be over and done with. Like the increments were crazy. I think we started at 187 opening height, and then went 93. So like a lot of people, I think from 5th to 10th or 5th to like 12th, people jumped 93. No way. And then it was 197. So that was weird.
So on a technicality, where did you actually come based on the overall distance?
So, well, if I jumped on my first attempt, I would think I would have come 5th.
Okay.
If I jumped on my third attempt, I came 10th.
That is
so annoying.
I suppose, but that's what I was saying about series, and would you prefer a great series or just that one height?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I got some questions for you. Like, firstly, you mentioned like looking up Jessica Ennis's diet and stuff.
Yeah.
What is your diet like as an athlete?
I think it's changed a lot from being a heptathlete to a high jumper. Because obviously you don't need as much energy. Like when I was doing heptathlon, I was like constantly training, like constantly burning energy. When you're doing high jump, it's like you're just not really doing as much. But I think my diet's just changed so much. Like it's pretty healthy. I don't think I'm quite good at right, this is the season, I need to be strict for this bit, and then I know I can eat badly. Like obviously off season, that was great. When I'm back into training, it's like, right, okay. Like in off season, I'm like, I don't even want to see a vegetable. Just that's not for me.
Okay.
But then on season, I'm just like, quite. I work with a nutritionist, which is good. I think it's more like the important thing is like basing carbs and protein stuff around training.
So knowing the amount of energy you can consume to use as well.
Yeah.
Without starving yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's difficult. Like it's such a weird one because I think because obviously there's so many different events in athletics. It's not just like one size fits all. So everything has to be so like individual. So it's been a
Okay.
Process.
What's your favorite meal in season?
In season, probably just like a stir fry because they're just so quick and easy. And after training, you're like, I don't want to cook a big meal. So I'm like, just chuck everything in, walk and see what happens.
Okay, cool. Favorite meal off season?
Pizza. Definitely.
What type of pizza?
So I have a really weird. I like aubergine and garlic on pizza. It's the weirdest thing.
How did you like? How?
I do.
Why is that even a thing? That's that's like pineapple on pizza. Like it's
no, it's not that bad.
That's a no.
And I'm like garlic on pizza makes like a garlic bread.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Aubergine's a nice vegetable. Let's put that on top.
I can't find the words for this. I mean, if I'm having a pizza, I'm picking like ground beef, green chili, sweet corn, pepperoni.
No, that's too much.
I'm loading it up with a barbecue base and I'm good.
Okay, so if it's like Domino's, I have like barbecue base, chicken, sweet corn, but
Domino's or Pizza Hut?
Texas barbecue.
Domino's.
Domino's. Why?
Yeah. I haven't had Pizza Hut since I was about like 10 years old. So
Seriously?
I had to reevaluate that.
Okay, I think you should have Pizza Hut.
And then decide.
Over like, well, maybe not the next few months because you'll be training.
In all season.
Maybe if you have like, do you have cheat days?
Yeah. Not like, I'm like, this is my cheat day. It's like, oh, someone's birthday or whatever. I feel like I need a pizza.
Okay.
That'll be a cheat day.
What is your favorite training session?
Probably anything like plyometrics, so like any bounding session.
Okay. Why?
I don't know, it's just fun. Like, so today I was doing like a fartlek with bounding and stuff. And although it was horrible, like my legs were dead, like I just love the bounding bit so much. I didn't even think about it as a training session. How
far? Because I remember you said about the bounding. Was it the whole straight or just like a portion of the straight?
It was a whole straight. It was on grass, so I guess it's shorter.
Okay. When you say what type of bounding? Because obviously, like, there's different types.
It's like hops over hurdles, bunny jumps, like stiffness jumps.
That I now understand why you said your legs must have felt horrible.
They were dead.
Because one round of that, I'd be like, I can't do this next round. Like I'd be too worried about clattering the hurdle, and I got bad knees as it is. So.
I was therefore break a bonus. I got neck knee. Neck knee. Neck knee.
Maybe that wouldn't have been a thing. Okay. I've noticed on Instagram you love coffee and you love things like that. So where would you say is your favorite coffee shop?
Favorite coffee shop is one in Loughborough actually.
Okay.
Called Bom Bom.
Bom Bom.
And literally when everyone comes to Loughborough, I'm like, I'm taking you to Bom Bom. I don't even know why. I love it. I just love it so much.
Okay, interesting. Maybe when we go Loughborough, we can check. We'll check this place out. We'll check this place out. We'll do it. And I'll message you, say, okay, it's good, or I prefer Starbucks. So Starbucks isn't good, no?
Starbucks is awful. Starbucks is disgusting.
You didn't see her
Costa, Starbucks.
You didn't just see her face. Like, I said Starbucks and she just, like, in her mind, she shot me. It's like, she just shot me down, like, real quick without saying anything.
Like, coffee place, people don't rate, like,
Pret's
coffee.
Nice.
Yeah, like, coffee drinkers don't actually rate
Pret.
it.
I don't like Pret. I see Pret on my way to work and I'm like...
Like 25 minutes.
To be honest, if I go into Starbucks, I'm only going to get a caramel macchiato, medium or large, depending on how tired I am in the morning. Apart from that, I'm not really trying to go. Favorite music?
What, as an artist?
Okay, so I'll do favorite artist.
Drake.
Drake. favorite. Okay, so favorite song.
Oh,
by
do you
Drake.
know what that I'm so bad at? So like, I love this music, love this. I don't know what the songs are called.
What?
I'm so bad. I went to a Drake concert with my brother when he was touring, and I was like, oh, I love this song. He's like, oh, what's it called? I'm like,
No idea.
I can sing every single like word of that song, but I don't know what the song's called.
Oh wow.
Apple Music, open.
Yeah, literally.
Okay, so favorite artist is Drake, but I mean that's fine. There's songs that I know and I will sing to the top of my lungs.
Yeah.
Tell me ask me what it is. I'm like, I don't know, and Shazam can't help me because I can't find it. Okay, so favorite type of music when you're in competition.
Just like hip hop, R&B, like whatever's.
I'm liking this vibe. Like every person we have come in and I ask this question about music, they all say hip hop and R&B.
Yeah.
I'm loving this. This is great.
I don't think I could listen to anything else like going to competition though. Like if I put a slow song on, I'm going to bed. Like I'm not going to go out and compete.
Okay. But when we say R&B and hip hop, are we talking
not old school?
Not old school.
No.
Okay. See now that's a bit different.
Yeah, you're the one that said
Like-
not old school.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Because everyone else has said 90s.
90s, early 2000s. Okay, so you're more like, let's say 2014.
Yeah.
Okay, I can vibe with that. That's cool. Favorite training partner?
That's such a hard one actually.
Who makes you switch on? Like you get to train, you're like, okay, yeah, I know they're gonna be on point, so I need to be on point this session.
So obviously my training partner groups and stuff gone a lot. Last few weeks, but Beth Partridge, who's another high jumper.
Yeah.
She was in my group last year as well, and she's kind of like changed her setup as well. So
Okay.
like we'll end up being training partners again this season, which is nice. And like she's a little bit older than me, but she's like really, really motivating. So.
Okay. Favorite place you've been on holiday?
Thailand.
Thailand. When did you go to Thailand?
2016.
Okay, did you
Rio.
go with family or did you go with
I
friends?
went with friends. Cool.
Nice. So would you recommend Thailand?
Yeah, I think it's just so cheap when you're out there as well. Like the flights getting over there are expensive, but everything out there is so cheap, and like the food's amazing. Yeah, it's great.
Okay, cool. So going forward, what's your plans? What's your motivations? Yeah, just let us know what the dealio is.
So yeah, at the moment, obviously Tokyo being so soon, that's just the biggest goal. Qualifying first.
Yeah.
Need to get that done. 96 is our qualifying. So
Okay.
it's quite high, but
Do you think you can do it?
hope I can do it.
When will be the trials this year?
June, I think.
Also, it's back to early June again. All right.
Yeah, it's early this year. And then long term, probably back to heptathlon really, and just seeing where that can take me. So
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on
Cool,
the
thanks for
podcast.
having me.
It's been, trust me guys, we've been trying to get this going for a long time, but she's a busy lady. it's fine. She's a busy person, so you know, it's like that sometimes. But listen, thank you so much for coming
Thank
on. Thank you to YSN for sponsoring us. I'm DJ Armani, co-host Victor, beautiful Morgan Lake. We'll see you guys soon.